This is the second part of two videos that I am creating for presenting a very simple example of a multiplayer game using Unreal 5. For the final result of this project, you will have 3 characters that has 3 different skins, and the spawning implementation will be replicating through the entire 3 different computers or 3 different remote computers. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, but please don't forget to like, subscribe, and make your comments for our channel. And remember that by joining at woolun.com, you will get access to discounts for all my courses, including the past courses and the courses that I'm preparing for the future. In our previous video, we added these elements, these actors, into the scene that we can pick up with different people connected in this multiplayer scenario. Now, what I'm going to do is to spawn these elements and to replicate these elements into the entire system. As soon as I replicate these elements for the listener server, they're going to be presented as well in the rest of the computers connected to the multiplayer game. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a blueprint, an actor blueprint that I'm going to call BP Spawner. So I'm going to select blueprint class, and I will select the actor blueprint. We're going to call it BP Spawner. Good. Now I'm going to open this BP Spawner. Now we're going to add a box collision. I'm going to call it first the spawn area. I'm going to make it the default component by dragging over here. I'm now going to create a variable that I'm going to call spawnable objects, which will be of type actor. We will select the class reference instead of the object reference. We're going to make it editable. And the other thing we're going to change is that it's going to be an array. What we will have in this array is all the types of actors that we're going to spawn in this area, in this section that we selected here. Of course, the actors are going to be the fruits that we created previously. Now I'm going to compile, save. In the next part, I am going to create a function that will make this spawn. I'm going to select the event graph, and I will create a new function here. This function will be called spawn. And now let me open a bit of a space here because we're going to need it. And now let's start working on this spawn function. So the thing that this spawn function is going to do is spawning an actor. So I'm going to select here spawn actor from class. First, what is the class that we are going to spawn? Well, this is going to be related to the spawnable objects that we are going to select here. So I'm going to move this one here to the get, and I'm going to select randomly one of these elements that are on this array. Of all the elements that are here, you're going to spawn one of the class that will be randomly selected. The next part is about defining where this actor is going to be spawned. For that, I am going to select with right click, I'm going to select get actor location. What this not do is that for this actor that we're talking about here, this is going to take the location of this particular actor. From that, I am going to connect this return value to something called the random point in bounding box. As you know at this moment, this actor is a box. It's basically a box. And I wish to spawn this actor in one random point inside this box. Now, I have to be careful of not moving away from the parameters of this box. And for doing that, I'm going to use the spawn area. So the spawn area, I'm going to take the get, and from the get, I will connect to get scaled box extent. What does that mean? Let's say that the cube is 2 by 2 by 2, then the position where this object is going to be spawned is going to be max 1, 1, and 1 if we have the reference of the center of this element, of this spawner. So I'm going to connect now this spawner here. And as you can see, we have this half size. If we didn't connect this half size to this parameter, then we have to establish it. And if we change the size of this spawner, then we have to change as well the size of the half size. In this case, I'm saying, well, this information is going to be provided by the spawn area through the get scale box extent. And now I have literally the half size of the actor that we are talking about. And before connecting random point in bounding box to the spawn actor, I'm going to right click over the spawn transform, and I'm going to select a split struct pin. From this one, I am going to connect to the spawn transform location. In resume, we're going to select one random object from this array of spawnable objects, which will become the class of the actor that we are going to spawn. Then we're going to select from this actor the surface that they cover, that this actor covers, and I'm going to say, well, based on this space for the actor, you're going to select any random value for this spawn transform location. It is the time now to set the timer to call this function that we just created, the spawn function. To do that, we will go to the event graph for this same object, and I'm going to remove event begin overlap. I don't need this one. And now I'm going to delete as well the event tick. I'm going to connect this event begin with set timer by event. And I'm going to set the timer in 1 second. So once the game starts, this is going to be executed every 1 second. Now, what is going to happen every 1 second? Oh, I forget that for looping, I have to select this. So now it's going to happen every 1 second. If I don't select the looping, then of course it's not going to loop. It's not going to happen every 1 second. Now I will connect the event pin with a custom event. What this is going to do is precisely the spawn. And I'm going to call it here. Fantastic. So now every 1 second, this event, this custom event will be called. And what does this call is the spawn function that we created a moment ago, which is here. And this is going to spawn the object. Let's test this. To test this scene, the first I'm going to do is to remove the elements that we created previously. So all these base pickups, I'm going to delete them. And now we are going to add our new blueprint class, which is the BP spawner. So let me add the BP spawner. I'm going to put it very close to the main character, or the first character here. And I'm going to expand this just a little bit. Let's say I'm going to expand it to 4 and 5. I'm going to put it, let me expand it just a little bit. Let's say 6 and 8. And I want to expand all these elements. I want to expand it just a little bit more. And now I'm going to move it. Let's put it like someplace around here. And over the surface, I want the things to fall from this spawner section. So all the elements are going to be spawned from this square that we're seeing here. This cube, in fact, this transparent cube that we're seeing here. Now, what are the elements that we are going to spawn? Well, now we have to add them. As we said in the BP spawner, that the spawnable objects are editable, I can go to the top down, find my spawner, and looking for the spawnable objects. Oh, here they are. And now I can select every one of them and add them here. And in this case, I have 3 elements. You can have as many as you wish. In fact, you can create 1, 2, 3 here. And I'm going to add one by one. in the corresponding boxes. This is one. This is the second and the third. Now let me check. This one goes to this one and that one and that one. Perfect. So they are all assigned. Now we have these three different fruits that are going to spawn. Let's save and play. And now you will see that things will start spawning here. But if you check one of the other characters, let's say this one, for example, let me put it closer. You will notice that here you are spawning double of fruits that they are spawning here. And that's because this character, this server, this listener, sorry, this computer is sending the information about the spawning to the rest. And these, on the other side, are creating their own spawning. So every character that it is not the listener is receiving the spawn from the listener and creating their own. The way of fixing this is going to BP Spawner, the event graph, where we called the event for the spawning. And what we're going to do is to tell the spawner to generate these pickups only if they have the authority to do so. And that means that they are the server. So to do this, I'm going to, from here, to add something called switch has authority. And this one will be connected to this option. And that's it. Let's compile, save, test our game. And now we're starting to spawn, and let's check that we are spawning just the same amount of fruits. Perfect. Now we're talking the same amounts of fruits for both characters, as you can see here. One last thing I will do is to create a skin for the different characters depending on the computer where you are connected. So the first part about this is go to the to this mannequin skin. And this mannequin skin, or the material, it is located here in mannequins, materials, instances, mani. And here you have the mani instance 1 and the mani instance 2. I'm going to take the 1 and right click. I'm going to duplicate this one. And let's say that this is going to be the mani 01, and I'm going to call it blue. And now replicate again, duplicate, and 01, let's call this one yellow. And let me get another one, duplicate, and I'm going to call this one red. Let's start with the blue. So I double click, and now I go to the tint, and in the tint, I'm going to select a blue color. Let's say something like this, and OK, save. And we have the first material for this one. This is the red. Let's double click in the tint. Let me select some kind of reddish here. OK, save, close. And the last one, which is yellow. Let's go for yellows here, something like this one. OK, save. And now we have the last skin. Now let's go back to the blueprint of our top-down character. We're going to add a new variable that we're going to call skin material. This will keep the reference of the materials that we are creating. In the type of this variable is going to be a material interface. And in the material interface, I'm going to select the object reference type. And I'm going to make it editable so I can use it. I can edit it. I can change it in any place. Now, for this one, you have the option of replication. And I'm going to set the replication to rep notify. This will create a function called onRepSkin material, which is here. Let's open this function. Now, what we're going to do is to create the materials or to present the materials, what we call this function. To do it, I'm going to first drag this mesh here to use it as a get. And I'm going to take the skin material that we have here as well. as a get as well. And now for the skin material, I'm going to say set material mesh. Here it is. Oh, in fact, when I added, it already added the mesh, so I don't need this one. And for the skin material, it's going to be this one that will connect. Following the logic of what we created, we added this variable, and this variable has the replication notification. And this created this particular function, which is here on rep skin material. And that is going to be called every time a material is changed for this particular object. Let's compile, save. Now we need to change the materials for every actor. So let's go to top-down again. And now I will open the top-down game mode. Now we're going to add a variable here that we're going to call skin materials. And as you can imagine, it's going to be an array of materials interfaces. And it's going to be an object reference. And here we are going to select an array. Let's compile these changes. And now we're going to add the skins materials here. Let's select 3 of them. And I'm going to open it just I'm going to move it here for a second to select the materials easily. Let's go to the top down and to the many. And let's add the materials. So for this one here, and this one here. Compile, save. We're also going to add a variable of the skin count. And as you can imagine, it's going to be an integer. Here we have them. Compile, save. And now we're going to the event graph, which is where we're going to implement this logic. First of all, we're going to call an event called event on restart player. This is an event, as you can see, implementable event call at the end of restart player. So this is exactly what we're looking for, because I need to add this skin every time a player is restarted. So from this point, I am going to cast this to the type of player that we created. So it's the BP top-down character, which is here. From the on restart player, I am going to select the get controlled pawn. And this is going to give me the pawn that is currently controlled by this player controller. This is the object that I want to connect with the top-down character. Now we're going to set the skin material. So from this, I'm going to select set skin material, which is here. And now, of course, I need to say, okay, what is the skin material that we're going to create? The target is going to be this same top-down character. But the material, well, the material, I'm going to take it from first the skin materials that we have here. So let me get a get. From here, I will select a get. Copy. And what is going to be the index of this group of materials that we have here? Well, it's going to be precisely the skin count. Oh, the skin count. There's something wrong. Yeah. Oh my God. The skin count is not an integer. It's not an array. So let's go here and say this is a single change variable. And now that it is not an array, I can connect it here. And then I'm going to say, well, from this group of materials, look for the index set by this skin count, and I'm going to assign it here. And once I do that, I have to add one value to the skin count so that the next character that is going to connect gets the second skin and so on. In this case, I'm going from here and say ++ increment integer. And the value that I'm going to increment is the skin count. So I can select from here, skin count. And now the skin count will be incremented by 1 once all this process finished. Let's compile and save. Now let's test the game. Let's wait for a second. Okay, things are here, fantastic. And they're starting to spawn on this space. Let me go here and you can see that now I have my other 2 characters that are in different colors. Let me get here. And the replication of the characters are in all my screens, which is really, really pretty cool. And here you can see that nothing is created like an extra. In all the screens, we have only one element that is spawning, which is exactly what we're trying to achieve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Remember that by joining Woodland.com, you will get access to huge discounts on our courses and first-hand free content to boost your career in video games and Unreal. To support my channel beyond, you can visit my Patreon to help me expand my team of editors. Thank you for being on the other side of the screen. I'll see you later. Cheers.